Vincent Schiraldi, Maryland Secretary of Department of Juvenile Services, claims that juvenile crime is in decline. And he asserted that many of the assumptions that society seems to hold about youth violence are wrong, which prompted a response from a number of state legislators who are hearing regular complaints from constituents complaining about youth crime in their neighborhoods. Mark, it's interesting to note that Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy stated recently to the Washington Post, the concerning part for us is the categories of youth crime that are up, which includes handgun crimes, carjackings, and auto theft. I think those are the areas to focus on. Just this past June, according to Prince George's County Police, they arrested 4 in connection with a carjacking, 5, 2 15-year-old boys, a 16-year-old boy, and even a 14-year-old boy. Why are our youth engaging in this kind of criminal activity?
It is disconcerting. If you look at the data over a longer period of time, you do see this spike that has taken place in carjacking. And it's not to get technical, but it's surprising because, of course, many cars can be located and presumably folks can get arrested for doing that. So hopefully law enforcement and also prosecution will be able to put a stop to that.
Mike, Montgomery County isn't immune from this as well.
Oh.
Montgomery County State's Attorney John McCarthy noted that juvenile arrests have nearly doubled in Montgomery County between 2021 and 2022. But he also commented that there are not enough adequate juvenile programs in the juvenile justice system. Now, you were confronted with these very issues when you were on the council. Why does the answer in Montgomery County always seem to be more programs, more money?
Well, I mean, I think especially when you focus on corrections, Montgomery County has one of the strongest corrections programs in the entire country. And so, and that takes resources. And we've had we have a great level of reduction of recidivism as a result of having those programs. And what we've not had to focus on, because as you indicated at the beginning, we're seeing this increase now, is juvenile crime. And so while I think we have strong programs, I don't think there's been a focus on the juvenile element associated with that. And I think we need to address that. And so if we're trying to put a similar and comparable program in place to what we have with our broader correction system to be able to address reduce recidivism and address the needs of our juvenile, those who are acting in crimes, creating those situations, entering the system, we've got to have the resources to be able to do that and do that well at the level that we've typically operated. And that's going to cost some money to do that. But I also think it's going to be really important for us to think about what are we doing on the front end from a mental health perspective to be able to address those issues so that we're ideally preventing and avoiding these things in the first place. And so I think that's another piece that needs to be addressed in this whole conversation.
Well, but the third leg of that stool is the police department. And according to political blogger Adam Pagnucco, the police staffing crisis is getting worse. And I'm going back to you again, Mike. There's currently a 14% vacancy rate, which could increase to 19% by 2025 because of the number of people who are eligible for retirement and the difficulty in hiring replacements. So how does the county address that kind of a challenge?
I think the county has to take this head on, and I've not seen that happen yet. Jurisdictions across the country are having difficulty hiring police. So that's not unique to us. The challenge I think that's unique to Montgomery County is we've yet to acknowledge from a leadership perspective that police are actually important in our community and that they play a vital role. I've not yet heard any comments coming from the county executive. If I look at the county council, for the most part, those who are most vocal are still appearing to be anti-police. And the reality is that if you're going to recruit and retain police officers, you actually have to acknowledge that they play a vital role in your community and be able to then put a structure around that and articulate what that is and support them. And we've not yet done that. So I think in addition to what you're seeing in other jurisdictions, we're even further behind the 8 ball because we've not taken any overt positive actions to be able to say, this is an important role in our community and this is what we're going to do to support this role.
Well, I think there's a fallacy being spread around that it's only about money. It's not about money.
No,
I mean, there's a whole police force in Minnesota that resigned en masse because they didn't feel they were getting support from their political leaders. So, Mark, what can the council do to reverse this trend?
Well, I absolutely agree with Mike. I think you need to recognize and value police. One of the challenges police officers have is really demoralizing to be denigrated. Let's talk about Will Jawando, who's been one of the leaders of the sort of anti-police members of the council. By all accounts, as far as I can tell, he's still upset about a traffic stop where he was identified as not having a driver's license, and is using that personal experience to inform sort of public policy going forward. And I think it's unfortunate. Police need to have a certain level of discretion. There are some instincts; they can identify trends, and they should be really be given far more latitude than some of the council members are willing to extend them.
Well, I will say one very
a,
positive thing, and that's about John McCarthy and his role as state's attorney for Montgomery County. He's done, I think, a great job balancing the needs of the prosecutors and enforcing, bringing people to justice. There's a lot of pressure on that office to be more lenient. I think John's done a great job. So let's go. Let's take.
If I could, Casey, real quick, I just want to add one piece there, because I think I agree with Mark. And one of the pieces I think is important for us to understand is police. We want to try and put everything in a category, and the reality is that we have a good police force. We've had challenges, we've had issues, and the reality is that we need to better train our police officers to work in the environment that which they currently operate. And that doesn't make police bad. That means we need to figure out how to train them better to do the things we need them to do. And it's easy to kind of get on the bandwagon, and we've got to be. We can't do that. We've got to have police in our community. We may need them to do things differently, and we've got to get them the tools to be able to do that differently. But we can't say we're not going to have police. And I'm afraid that's the message in Montgomery County right now.
Well, I was trained as a criminal investigator and worked in a white collar division of the Inspector General's office. And when I would go to the law enforcement training center down in Glencoe, Georgia, we were trained that you had to use your instincts as much as follow the law. It seems to me that with the SAFE Act and other initiatives that the council's doing, that we're trying to pigeonhole the police into not following their instincts. It's, that they're limited in how they can enforce crime. So
yep. No, I agree.
There's got to be a change in philosophy and allow the police to do their job.